Hashtag Business Matters. Yes, that's our major focus in today's Jamaica magazine, as we look at some of the ways our government is creating greater ease in doing business in Jamaica. Welcome, I'm Audrey Williams. Coming up, learn the process to register a business or company in Jamaica. And what's government doing to utilize the BPO for growth? It's World Health Day, and this year's focus is hashtag Safe Food. Get the scoop. We start things off with this word of advice, followed by the news.
Artists, dancers, songwriters, protect your work from copycats and secure your intellectual property. The Intellectual Property Rights Law guards the rights of owners of creative works in the scientific, industrial, literary, artistic, musical and dramatic fields. It covers several areas. Protect your net worth, protect your legacy, build Jamaica's creative and industrial industry. For more details on protecting your creative expression, contact the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office.
Good day, I'm Tamar McHale and this is your GIS News for Tuesday, April 7. Energy, economic growth, immigration reform, disaster response, climate change and tourism will be high on the agenda when U.S. President Barack Obama meets with Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller and other CARICOM leaders this Thursday. The U.S.'s Deputy National Security Advisor for Strategic Communications, Ben Rhodes, outlined the agenda during a White House press call Tuesday morning. He said the visit was a really important signal to the region about President Obama's personal commitment to the Caribbean and its growing importance to the United States.
We absolutely feel that the CARICOM region does deserve greater attention and engagement from the United States. And the fact that the President is doing a town hall in Jamaica dedicated to youth, I think indicates our understanding that there's enormous youth populations in these countries. But that carries with it enormous promise, and that if we're investing in the youth of the Caribbean and partnering with them, we can expand our ties.
The U.S. President is scheduled to arrive in Jamaica on Wednesday, April 8, and begins his official engagements on April 9 with a bilateral meeting to be jointly chaired by Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller. That will be followed by a CARICOM U.S. summit to be held at the UWI regional headquarters. Senior Director for Western Hemisphere Affairs in the U.S.'s National Security Council, Ricardo Zuniga, says U.S. relations with Cuba is also among the topics likely to be discussed at that summit.
This is an item that is very important to the Caribbean, and that we think this is a very fortuitous time to be talking about how we see the region as an integrated part of the Americas, where all the countries in the region should be taken into account and where we should be able to work openly with all of those.
Following the summit, President Obama will participate in a wreath-laying ceremony at the National Heroes Park before hosting the Youth Forum at the University of the West Indies. He departs Jamaica Thursday evening for Panama City to attend the 7th Summit of the Americas to be held on April 10 and 11. Meanwhile, the public should anticipate road closures, traffic restriction and redirections between today and Thursday, April 9. This is to facilitate the planned visit of several heads of state and government and their delegations to Jamaica over the period. Affected areas include the new Kingston Business District and its environs, Ligoni, Mona, and areas close to Crossroads and Central Kingston. Other areas in the Kingston Metropolitan Area, KMA, may also be affected by traffic restrictions. At the same time, there will be increased aerial activities involving various types of military aircraft in and around the KMA until Friday, April 10. The activities will be coordinated and monitored by the JDF and the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, JCAA. Owners and operators of unmanned aerial vehicles and remotely piloted aerial systems are being reminded to coordinate their activities with the JCAA. In other news, the enterprise team overseeing the divestment of the island's garbage disposal site is currently reviewing 15 proposals. Local Government Minister Noel Arscott says particular attention is being paid to proposals which have a waste-to-energy component.
The committee will examine all the options to essentially privatize the operation of the landfill. We're starting with Riverton, but we expect to proceed with the others.
The ministry is meanwhile reviewing nominees to serve on the Board of Directors of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA. This follows an announcement by Minister Arscott that 7 persons from the 11-member board had resigned, leaving it short of the required quorum to act. Cabinet has approved an enterprise team to oversee the divestment of the Petroleum Company of Jamaica, PETCOM, by September of this year. Information Minister Senator Sandra Faulkner recently outlined the duties of the enterprise team.
To coordinate, manage, and execute the privatization of PETCOM and provide the requisite administrative and technical support. The PETCOM enterprise team will be chaired by Professor Edwin Jones.
Other members of the team are Christopher Cargill, Christopher Leckie, Nerine Small, Richard Dawkins, Catherine Williams, and Colleen Weiss. PETCOM is a subsidiary of the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica. The company has a network of 24 service stations which market a variety of petroleum products, industrial fuels, and lubricants. PETCOM made over $10.7 billion in profits last year. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller is calling on Jamaicans at every level of society to support the mission of the church in promoting positive values and strong morals.
As a people, we must hold on to the truth of the Word of God and teach our children always to love God and to do good.
The Prime Minister was speaking on Good Friday at the 45th Annual National Convention of the International Church of the Four Square Gospel. And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Tamar McHale. Thank you for watching.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Last week was another productive one for the Office of the Prime Minister. Let's get the details on some of the latest happenings.
In Jamaica House Weekly, OPM prepares for the visit of U.S. President and CARICOM heads of government. Prime Minister calls for support of the church. And the 4th Jamaican receives City and Guilds Award. At last week's Jamaica House media briefing, the country was updated on the security arrangements for the April 8 and 9 visit of U.S. President Barack Obama and CARICOM heads of government. The Ministry of National Security said security arrangements were progressing at a satisfactory rate. Among the measures is the immediate call-out of the JDF National Reserve, traffic diversions and road closures, as well as airspace control. Journalists were also updated on Wednesday's incident at the U.S. Embassy, in which a white male hurled an unidentified bag onto the compound.
The alleged perpetrator, a white man who spoke with an American accent, was quickly apprehended by the police and is currently being questioned. The security forces and bomb disposal experts were quick in response and immediately took steps to secure visitors with appointments at the embassy across the road and away from the U.S. Embassy building. The Ministry of National Security can confirm that the contents of the bag were examined by the security forces and no threats were uncovered.
President Obama and the CARICOM heads of government will be on the island for talks with Prime Minister Simpson Miller, following which all parties will attend the 7th Summit of the Americas in Panama. Cabinet has established an enterprise team for the divestment of Petroleum Company of Jamaica, PETCOM. At last week's Jamaica House media briefing, Information Minister Senator Sandra Faulkner said board appointments were also sanctioned for the Western Regional Health Authority and the Development Bank of Jamaica. Cabinet also gave approval for amendments to be made to the restorative justice policy.
I join you all in extending heartfelt congratulations to the Most Honorable Harold Millen, to say to him, I am indeed very proud of you.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller was saluting her husband last Tuesday as he was awarded the Fellowship of the City and Guilds.
A man who pays some keen attention to detail and makes unyielding demands for excellence, even of his wife. This is matched with a strong social conscience, a love of people, and a kind and generous heart.
Mr. Miller is the 4th Jamaican to receive the award, which is given to persons who have demonstrated the highest standards of excellence in their field. On Good Friday, Prime Minister Simpson Miller called on Jamaicans to join the social cohesion efforts of the church. She reasoned that the country would benefit from the church's mission of promoting positive values and strong morals.
Families and communities at every level in Jamaica must support the church in this mission, which is vital to the very foundations of our society and our nation.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the 45th Annual Convention of the International Church of the Foursquare Gospel in Kingston. She used the occasion to reassure the gathering that government would continue to protect the country's proud record of religious freedom for all, which is enshrined in the Jamaican Constitution.
Jamaica has a long and distinguished history of freedom of religion, which we should never take for granted.
The Prime Minister said government's work in this regard was acknowledged recently with an award from the International Religious Liberty Association. And finally, Mrs. Simpson Miller hosted a number of visitors to Jamaica House last week. On Wednesday, she met Venezuela's Foreign Minister Delcy Rodriguez. She also met with International Court of Justice Judge Patrick Robinson. The next day, the Prime Minister welcomed the newly elected officers of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica for the 2015-2016 year. And that's how we close this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next time for the latest out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Camera, action! Get ready for Jamaica Film Festival 2015. From July 7 to 11, venues across the corporate area will be showcasing the historic, dramatic, comedic, and animated sides of Jamaica. More than 300 minutes of showtime, some 15 films, 4 days of experiencing the talents of local actors, scriptwriters, and directors. Gear up as international film investors invade the country to watch Jamaica. For more on Jamaica Film Festival 2015, contact Jamaica Promotions Corporation JAMPRO by phone or email.
I think that's a good idea because when you go to other different places, you get different information. So then you can't really, you know.
Much faster, less complicated because I know the old one. I know that a number of things have been combined on it. Therefore, it should make it easier for persons to go through the process.
If you can fill one form, it takes care of like 3 forms. That would be easier, much easier.
Business persons there sharing their views on how the super form at the Companies Office of Jamaica has made it easier to start a business. If you're interested in doing that and more, then watch keenly this next feature.
Have you realized that more and more Jamaicans are becoming their own bosses? Think about it. Varying types of companies or businesses are being opened all over the island. But before they could start their operations, they first had to be registered with the Companies Office of Jamaica, COJ. The process to register a business and a company are not the same. In fact, many believe that a company is the same as a business, but they really aren't. A company is a non-profit or profit-generating commercial enterprise registered or incorporated under the Companies Act, while a business is a sole trader or partnership registered under the Business Names Act. So with that said, we will be differentiating the registration process for each of these two groups for you. Let's begin with how to register a business. For new applicants, you will need to complete and submit the Business Registration Form BRF1, also known as the Super Form. You will also need a document verifying the owner or owner's current place of address, such as a driver's license or utility bill. The business owner or owners must present their tax registration number or TRN, an original valid government identification card, and a work permit or exemption letter where applicable. Professional certification is required for some businesses, such as doctors, lawyers, dentists, pharmacists, engineers, architects, surveyors, real estate dealers and developers, custom brokers, hairdressers, barbers, pest control operators, child care and golden age care services. Now the last thing left to do is to pay the necessary registration fees. The registration fee of a sole trader is $2,500. To register a partnership of 2 to 5 persons is also $2,500. The registration fee of a partnership of 6 to 20 persons is $5,000. And the registration of a partnership and a trade name as it relates to a corporation is $3,000 each. After you've submitted all the relevant documents and made the requisite payments, the documents will be verified by the COJ. Then within 2 working days, you will receive a certificate of registration. This certificate is valid for 3 years, and the TRN and NIS number of your business will be displayed at the base. Certification ensures that you are registered with the National Housing Trust and Heart Trust NTA. Now, let's move on to how to register your company. There are some company owners who, before registering their non-profit or profit-generating company, reserved their company name. The COJ has made it possible for these persons who may not be able to afford the fees associated with the registration of their company or who are in the process of accumulating the relevant documents to first reserve a name for their company up to 90 days before it's registered. This is a very beneficial opportunity because if you do this, you will 1. Establish that the proposed name is appropriate and available for use. 2. Protect the name from use by others during the 90 days reservation period. And 3. Allow your company assured use of the name for pre-incorporation contracts. So, if you decide to reserve the name of your company and reap the benefits, you will need to do 2 things. Complete and submit the company's name search and name reservation form, Form 6. And when that's done, you will be required to pay a fee of $500 for the name search and $3,000 for the name reservation. At the end of the process, you will receive a letter advising you of the reservation of your company name. But if you choose to go right ahead and register your company, there are a few things to do. First on the list, complete the Articles of Incorporation form. If you are registering a profit-making company, you will complete Form 1A. But if you are registering a non-profit company such as a church, charity, service club, or NGO, you will be required to complete Form 1B. When completing the forms, you should ensure they contain details such as the name of the company with the word limited added at the end, the core business of the company, the classes of shares and the maximum number of shares that the company is authorized to issue. For example, 1,000 ordinary shares. Restrictions on share transfers. Minimum and/or maximum number of directors. Names and particulars of the proposed directors and the company secretary. Names of proposed shareholders, as well as any restrictions on the business that the company may carry on. For example, the company may not support any political party. All articles will attract a stamp duty fee. Stamping is done at the COJ. The second thing to do to register your company is to complete the Business Registration Form, BRF1, also known as the Super Form. On this form, you will be filling in the required information needed on the principal director, all other directors, the company secretary, registered office, and the projected start date. These details are now mandatory for the registering of a company. The super forms should be signed by all the directors of the company, as well as the person declaring the accuracy of the information submitted on the form. This person must present an original valid government-issued identification or a certified copy of a government-issued identification card on location. The final thing to do is to pay transaction fees. The cost for registration is $24,000 and there's a minimum of $500 for stamp duty. After you've gone through all the steps and made the requisite payments, COJ will verify the documents and then you'll receive a certificate of incorporation within 5 working days. With the certificate of incorporation, you will also receive the company's TRN and NIS number. The certification ensures that you are registered with the National Housing Trust and Heart Trust NTA. You also get a tax compliance certificate, TCC, which is valid for 90 days. If the time period to get your certificate is too long and you want to register at the soonest possible time, then you can make use of the expedition services offered by the COJ. There's the same-day service, which can be accessed at a cost of $6,000 for companies and $3,000 for businesses. Then there's the next-day express service, which can be accessed at a cost of $3,000 for companies and $1,500 for businesses. The cutoff time for the same-day express service is 9:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. for the next-day express service. And that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact the company's Office of Jamaica for more information by calling 908-4419 or visiting their office at 1 Grenada Way, Kingston 5. Remember, you can access all forms and samples on the COJ's website at orcjamaica.com. Congratulations to you and all the best with your business or company.
The business process outsourcing sector has become quite a beneficial one for Jamaica, enabling many Jamaicans to gain employment in third-party service provider companies such as call centers. How has this industry grown in Jamaica? Watch now.
When the government speaks of job creation, an industry that should readily come to mind is business process outsourcing, BPO. This thriving sector is experiencing double-digit growth and, according to JAMPRO, could create 15,000 new jobs within the next 5 years. So government has been using BPO as a conduit for achieving the strategic priority of job creation and economic growth with positive results. Business process outsourcing, or BPO, involves engaging a third-party service provider to do specific business functions. This means companies overseas can hire local entities to handle certain aspects of their business, such as customer service call centers. Other functions include general office operations like accounting and human resource management. Jamaica has a competitive edge in this sector due to its geographic location, the ability of nationals to speak English, and the educational qualifications of citizens. Within the past few years, government has been capitalizing on this to formalize the sector. The main point of support comes from the Ministries of Technology, Industry and Education, collaborating with the private sector representative group, the Business Process Industry Association of Jamaica, BPIAJ. Members of the BPO industry benefit from several incentives under the free zone regime, including income tax relief on profit earnings and duty-free importation of machinery and tools used in their operations, such as computers. There is also direct monetary support, such as the Development Bank of Jamaica's commitment of $23 million in loan to the ICT and BPO sectors this fiscal year. All these interventions have supported the current environment of about 40 BPO companies operating in Jamaica. These entities account for approximately 14,000 jobs, but government's goal is to add hundreds more as part of the strategic priority for economic growth. In October 2014, a $195,000 contract was signed to roll out new business process outsourcing BPO facilities in Montego Bay. A month prior to that, $6 million was invested in the construction of a BPO facility in Portmore, St. Catherine. Both of these private sector-driven developments represent the latest result of government-supportive policies to encourage an expanded BPO sector in Jamaica.
The commitment is there from the government in all the areas that needs to be addressed as we move forward to ensure that the sector not only remain alive but thrive and is sustainable going forward.
As evidenced by the Mobay and Portmore developments, government is well on its way to achieving its BPO goals. The contract between the BPIAJ and Columbus Business Solutions means the creation of an incubator for business operators who wish to operate from the Montego Bay Free Zone. The incubator, which is slated to become fully operational by December 2014, is designed to fast-track the entry of new BPO companies, providing hundreds of jobs. As for the 40,000 square foot BPO facility in Portmore, it's expected to provide thousands of jobs during the construction phase, while another 550 persons are estimated to be employed during the startup phase.
Space has been our major failing, and the space is not going to be provided by the government. My view is that you can create 3 million square feet of office space tomorrow and they will be filled. But it requires from entrepreneurs that element of risk.
Jamaica and the business process outsourcing sector, a partnership that's poised to make the island the outsourcing hub of the Caribbean, a partnership that supports government strategic priority for job creation and economic growth.
As the world celebrates Health Day by focusing on food safety, we at home have also been proactive, with agencies like the Bureau of Standards leading the way. We are no doubt well on our way to modernizing our food safety standards.
The food we eat has a major influence on our health. How the food is prepared, packaged, or initially produced will determine how much value it offers, or even if it's safe for consumption. Governments and food suppliers have a duty to protect the nation's health and ensure that the food in the marketplace is safe. They have to be on the watch for foodborne illnesses and other hazards that require up-to-date safety mechanisms. Having these international quality systems in place is also an investment that can help companies reach for a larger share of the global trade market, and food is a major trade item. It's an open secret that repairing Jamaica's economy must take the route of increasing its output in trade through niche marketing and competitive means. If Jamaica's food exports are deemed safe, competitiveness in the global market will be strengthened. In the world of food inspection and testing, hazard analysis and critical control point HACCP system is a popular choice. HACCP is used in most thriving long-term business operations. This system allows for inspection and testing at each stage of the production process, removing the need for the more costly end product inspection and testing. Another increasing requirement in the foods market is for established systems that allow the authorities to trace the movement of the foods from the origin to the end user. Under Jamaica's National Quality Infrastructure Project, local laboratories with international accreditation are increasing. More demanding food safety standards in major markets are pushing the local effort to accredit testing labs and get businesses certified under the International Standard Organization ISO. The Bureau of Standards Jamaica BSJ and the Jamaican National Agency for Accreditation JANAC, as well as the National Certification Body, are spearheading activities to ensure businesses meet the requirements of other countries. These institutions are put in place by government to support the national export strategy. The country is working towards a position where once goods are tested in Jamaica, they are accepted globally. In support of that process, the BSJ has reduced the cost of all its services by 50%. Ensuring modern food safety standards are in place is everybody's business. Consumers get wholesome foods and businesses trade in confidence and ease.
This is how we close the pages of today's Jamaica Magazine. Thank you for joining us, and I trust you found today's program to be informative and educational. Let us know your feedback. We invite you to drop us a line by emailing us at jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm. To see a repeat of today's show, you may visit our YouTube page and keep up to date by clicking on our website, gis.gov.jm, or by our many social media platforms. On behalf of the JIS production team, I'm Audrey Williams, wishing you a fabulous evening.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.